But right now is my great honor to introduce our guest speaker who's going to talk for 10 minutes. Previously, our guest speakers have been people like Drew Houston, Mitch Kapor, Paul English, Governor Charlie Baker, Dharmesh Shah last year. And these are people who have created multi-billion-dollar companies. And I was really excited to have them, but I have to tell you, the person we're having tonight is the person I'm most excited about. Her name is Shireen Yates, and why I'm so excited is she went through this program 4 or 5 years ago. And I want you to hear her story, because this program helped change her. She worked at Google before that. She'd been at University of Pennsylvania. She wanted to be an entrepreneur. And this program helped push her, and now she's doing amazing things. And this is one very impressive, determined young woman. She came into my office, and the criteria was you had to have a team. And so she had taken the class and said, I have this idea. I said, it's a great idea. I love you very much, but you don't have a team, and so you can't be in the program. And she looked at me and said, I have a good idea, and you like me. You're going to let me in this program, and you're going to give me 48 hours, and I will find a teammate. And son of a gun, if she didn't go find a teammate that she already knew, but she roped him in, his name's Scott Sunbor, and they have done terrific things. And now today, her company, Nima, which she's going to talk to you about, has Brad Feld as an investor, Mitch Kapor, Patrick Ravelli, Lemnos Labs. There's an enormous number of MIT connections, and they are doing some terrific things. So it's my great honor to introduce Shireen Yates.
All right, such an honor to be on this stage today. Just 4 years ago, I was right there, one of the cohorts, ready to go up, nervous, feeling the pitch, cheering on all my classmates. So, Nima Labs, I'm the founder and CEO, and what I want to do in the next 10 minutes is talk through a little bit about our journey. What is Nima all about? And I'm going to start sort of where we are today, what we do, why we do it, and then I'm going to give you a visualization of what this journey has been like for me and Scott and our whole team. And then finally, I'm going to spend the majority of time talking about how Delta V was this incredible catapult for us to launch us on the journey that we've been on for the past 4 years. So to start with that, at Nima, we enable people to be their healthiest selves by giving them the power to know what's in their food. And we do this by creating unique sensing technologies that enable people to test food for certain ingredients. We also create unprecedented food data so people can test food and know exactly what's in it and then share that test result with millions of others. And finally, we support communities of people who care about what's in their food because their health depends on it. And when we were in this room 4 years ago, it was my co-founder, Scott, and I. It was just 2 of us. Today, we're in San Francisco. We have a team of over 20. We had 0 in the bank 4 years ago. We've raised over 17 million of equity funding as well as grant funding from the NIH. And we have shipped a product to thousands of people and have generated tens of thousands of data points of what's in your food. Some accolades for the past few years as well. Time Magazine Best Invention of the Year. Popular Science recognized us as one of the most important health inventions as well. So we are so honored and by some of the recognition. But this is why we do what we do. This is one of our customer quotes, that Nima has changed my life. Until I was diagnosed, I loved restaurants and thought of myself as a foodie. What I realized after I stopped eating out is that it wasn't the food I missed, it was the joy of spending time out with friends and colleagues. It was a much lonelier road without Nima. So for millions who have food sensitivities and dietary restrictions, they're using Nima to test food. They're using Nima to send their kids to birthday parties that they didn't feel comfortable sending them before. They're using Nima to go on vacations, to really expand their horizons and be more social. Our first product, which just shipped for general availability this year, is a portable gluten sensor. So if you know folks who are avoiding gluten, go to nimasensor.com. Peanut is in the pipeline, and we have a big product portfolio. So that's a little bit about Nima. Nima, to give you all context, now what does that journey look like for us from a blob of an idea? This is actually our first prototype, a clay model in 2013, to this now portable device, chemical sensing technology with a robust portfolio, IP portfolio that's now in the hands of thousands. What was that journey like? It was not like this. Straight path, sun-ridden, you can see exactly where you're going, just really, really peaceful. No, it was not like this. It more resembled the Lombard Street in San Francisco. If any of you have gone to San Francisco, it's one of the curviest roads in the world. And experiencing it actually felt like going down Lombard Street in a Hot Wheel. For those of you who maybe know, San Francisco actually does have a race where people go down Lombard Street in a scooter-like vehicle, which is a Hot Wheel, no brakes. You can't see what's going on behind a corner, and you're just traveling at such velocity. So that's what the experience was like for Scott and I and for the Nima team. And also, you can see that the nonlinearity is really reflective in a lot of the brand and company changes we've made. When we first debuted out on stage 4 years ago, we were Six Sensor Labs. You can see a lot of different brands we've gone through, different names, and also a lot of different product iterations and changes in our device. So a lot of change. But what did it take to go from that idea, that nugget of an idea, to actually shipping this product? The idea started at a wedding, this particular wedding, the summer of 2012. I myself have a number of food sensitivities, and I wanted to, eat food at this wedding, and I asked the waitress, are these appetizers gluten-free? And she said, well, how sick do you get? And I said, I wish I could just take a sample of that and have the power of knowing in my hand. How hard could that be? That can't be that hard. Okay, well, it turns out it's very challenging, but it's doable. And I had the great fortune of meeting my co-founder, Scott Sunvor. He had graduated with a degree in mechanical engineering at MIT, and I had known Scott. We had worked together in some capacity before I roped him in as a co-founder, and we thought, we're really, really passionate about this space of helping people better understand what they're putting in their bodies and looking at food as medicine. How can we advance this idea? And to give you greater context, I was finishing my second year at MIT Sloan, so graduated in 2013. And Scott and I looked at each other and said, what about this program, the Global Founder Skill Accelerator, which was what it was called then and what is now the Delta V program. So let's apply and see if we get in. And you heard the application story from Bill, but we were honored to be accepted, Scott and I. And we spent this next 3 months really changed the trajectory of both our lives for the next 4 years. And what I loved about the Delta V structure and program is that it really helped us vet our idea in a very systematic, rigorous way. Often when we think about entrepreneurship, it's something nebulous. It's something like, hard to put structure around it. But the Delta V program really helped catapult us in the most efficient way to where we are now. And it started with molding an idea. You saw a photo of our original prototype, but for a lot of the teams here, you came in the start of the summer passionate about what you were doing, excited, and you had a lot of vision, but not a lot of structure around that. So I think the first thing is that Delta V did is literally mold. Not only we molded our product, we also molded the value proposition of what we were doing. I remember one of the first activities we did was actually write a brochure of what Nima's all about, even before we had customers. And we took that to the next level and molded the experience of pitching Nima at trade shows before we had a product, just to start molding that experience. And then very systematically testing those hypotheses and adding function to form. This was the prototype that we actually graduated with at Delta V. This is what we had at the demo day stage. It looks like a mini lifesaver. It's about this big. It's very noisy, very, it's not very elegant, but it was functional. You could put a sample of food in there, get a result. And we also put up a website. We started testing price sensitivities, understanding, what is taking the marketing a step further and understanding what that willingness to pay is. And this was all done through Delta V in a very systematic way to get all of those data points to say, is this an idea that I want to really commit my life to? And Delta V really helped us answer that question. Finally, one of the principles that was so critical was just the absolute obsession over your users and the problems they're trying to solve. And what we did is we designed one of our rooms at the Trust Center in a restaurant. We had menu items. We invited users to come in to circle menu items and see what they would want to test. And we have used that rigor of being obsessed with your users and really getting that feedback every step of our development. And this is just a highlight of the testing we've done. We go out with our users, go out to restaurants, watch them test food, seeing what the results are. And these product iterations weren't because we thought it might look better or might be nicer. It's because our users told us what they wanted, and this is how we iterated through. So mold your ideas, add function to form, obsess over your users and the problems they're trying to solve. And here we are, the night 4 years ago, the night of graduation, we had watched all our amazing classmates and cohorts pitch their ideas. Scott and I are in the middle here, and there was a big looming question: what next? I don't know how many of you are asking yourself that question, but that was definitely a question for us. And we sat there, and I reflected on the last 3 months. And Bill didn't know this at the time, but both Scott and I had full-time job offers. So we had job offers on the table from companies, and we had this idea we were working on. And I went through the mental checklist, and I said, you know what? I'm obsessed with this idea and solution. I have an amazing co-founder. We've tested our assumptions. We've identified a willingness to pay. We have interested investors, but no money in the bank, mind you, zero, except for the generous grant from Delta V, and our team of cohorts and classmates that are absolutely cheering us on. And this mental checklist for me was, you know what, check. I'm going to do it. And by the way, the summer of 2013 was a big one. Personally, I got married that summer as well. I wish that Mayflower had been in my cohort. So incorporated, got married. Now that's relevant because what did it mean to go for it at the time was moving back in with my parents, with my co-founder, with my new husband, and my mom was just like, you just got your MBA. You're moving in back with not one, but 2 men. I don't understand. So that was going for it. And since then, we have just been nonstop pitching Nima on repeat, creating this new product category of a portable food sensor and bringing awareness to millions. We won the TechCrunch Battlefield last year. We've been on Bloomberg. We've been talking to Dr. Oz at CES, and it's just a nonstop roller coaster, highs and lows. And honestly, what keeps us so motivated are customers and also the networks that we've created, not only at MIT, but I still have my classmates from my year at Delta V that are on speed dial if I come up with something that I just need another sounding board. Another life change. So this year, I like to do, I guess, two big things a year at once. So Scott, my co-founder, we shipped Nima, and I also shipped a human with my husband, not my co-founder, just to be clear. And so a huge 2017 for us. In conclusion, mold your ideas, make it real. Delta V inspired us to really add function to form, obsess over our ideas and the problems they're trying to solve, and really be comfortable with discomfort. You're going to be racing down Lombard Street in a Hot Wheel, not seeing the next corner around, and life's going to come at you, and Delta V gave us the best platform and foundation and preparation to catapult us on that journey. So thank you so much to Delta V, to Bill, and seriously, congratulations. Congratulations to all the graduates. You guys are doing the heavy lifting, and a special thank you to Bill and the team, and to the Trust family and the Trust Center, and also to the graduates. There's no one better in the world to do what you're doing, so just go for it. Absolutely, just go for it. Thank you.